Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Geek TV, Digital Spy's home for sci-fi silliness and nerdy knowledge. Alex is on holiday this week. I'm Maya, stepping in as your temporary host. Think of me as Richard Herndl to Alex's William Hartnell. But while the host may have regenerated, there are some fixed points on Geek TV, and joining me to discuss Doctor Who's latest episode, Hyde, is DS Geek for Hire, Morgan Jeffrey.
Hello.
So let's get straight into tonight's episode. Hyde, it's my favourite episode for a while now. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I disagree. I didn't like it quite so much. I feel like, as with episode 2, the writer Neil Cross, he kind of nails the setup, but then falters a little in the execution. And I really enjoyed the first half of the episode, which is kind of this spooky roller coaster ride. But the trouble is, when sci-fi does a ghost story, it always has to rationalise the spookiness. And the second half of the episode, a monster in the woods, the pocket universe portion of the episode, didn't really hold up for me.
I thought the dialogue and between the Doctor and Clara especially was a lot better than it was in his other sing-songy episode.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think his problems in writing Doctor Who are more with structure. Again, the final act kind of lagged here in episode 4, but I definitely agree that the dialogue was a lot snappier in Hyde. And this was actually Jenna Louise Coleman's first episode that she filmed as Clara, but I don't think you'd know that, coming at it from an outsider's perspective. Her and Matt Smith immediately have that kind of rapid-fire banter and right on form.
What did you think about, especially towards the end of the episode, the way that they're sort of teasing out Clara's backstory a bit?
I thought that was really interesting, actually, sort of the final twist where you find out the reasons the Doctor really came to the house. I find the final act lagged a little, but I thought that twist gave it, a little bit of a buzz. And Stephen Moffat has said that this year, kind of in the final episodes, we're going to discover the Doctor's greatest secret, and it's bound to be something dark, something terrible, and it seems to me like Clara's arc is somehow going to be all tied up in with that.
You mentioned earlier about how the first half of the episode was especially spooky. People always talk about Doctor Who, is it too scary? Do you think Doctor Who can be too scary? Was this episode too scary?
People say, is Doctor Who a children's show or not, but whatever way you look at it, it's a show that's designed for younger viewers on some level. So, of course, you can go too scary when a show is intended for children. But has Doctor Who ever gone too scary? I personally don't think so, no. Like I say, this was kind of like a roller coaster ride. It's fun scares, it's jump scares. There's nothing in there that's going to, psychologically scar a child that's watching that, I think.
What do you think the scariest episodes there have ever been of Doctor Who?
For me, you've got to go a long way to beat Blink. I remember kind of the day after watching that episode, after it first went out, and grown men were talking to me that episode had kind of freaked them out a little bit. Hyde did have some genuinely kind of creepy moments. There's a brilliant scene where a kind of terrifying image appears behind Alec and Emma in the window. But for me, you've got to go a long way to beat Blink. Or Midnight from Series 4 was another episode that was really kind of creepy and menacing. So those would be my top 2, I think.
And while we're here, I heard that you've got quite a scoop about the Zygons in the 50th episode.
I do, yeah. I spoke to the writer, Robert Banks Stewart, who created the Zygons, wrote their first appearance back in 1975, Terror of the Zygons. And he revealed to me that, yes, obviously the Zygons will be appearing in the 50th special, but also he thinks they'll be appearing alongside the Daleks and the Cybermen. And there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not those two monsters will appear in the 50th. Most fans expected that they would, and I kind of talked about it in previous weeks. But I think this is our first real confirmation that, yes, we will have Daleks and we will have Cybermen in the 50th special.
But you're not scared of them maybe over-egging it with too many bad guys?
I think it's absolutely the right decision. I've mentioned it in previous weeks. I think you should kind of pack in as many monsters as possible, which it seems like they're doing. I think the important thing is to strike the right balance. You've got to strike a balance between narrative and spectacle, really.
On that note, it's time to wrap up another edition of Geek TV. Morgan's off to reread his vintage copy of Doctor Who and the Daleks, and I'm off to meet Alex at the airport. Tune in next week for more Geek TV.